Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Karnitz, your Chamber President. On behalf of the Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you today to our annual State of the Community presentation. While this format is a bit different than what you may be used to, and us as well, we hope that you find the information presented today to be informative and interesting. Just a few housekeeping issues. If you have not already done so, please mute yourself. And also, after the presentations, we'll have time for questions. So please feel free to post any questions that you might have for our presenters in the chat function. We will host tape presentations today from our speakers. The first presentation today will be from me. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to begin today's presentation with a chamber overview. 2020 has been a challenging year for our community, and I, like all of you, am hopeful that as we move into 2021, we will begin to find our new normal. Our chamber is led by a dedicated board of local business people, representing the various segments of our chamber membership, all of whom are involved in a variety of organizations throughout our community. Our staff takes great pride in our organization and our community and likes to call themselves the Dream Team. Their 2020 mantra, "Teamwork makes the dream work," was tested daily. As of today, we have 271 active members. We welcome 16 new members in 2020, and we are excited to be rolling out our new member videos within the next few weeks. You can see our diverse membership represents the many business segments of Grafton, and that variety continues to expand. Please note that some of our members are represented in more than one segment. 2020 started out much like any other year for the Chamber. We hosted our annual State of the Community Luncheon at the end of January. Although things changed as the year went on, the Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce was able to organize a variety of activities and events throughout this unprecedented year. In February, we were able to sponsor a trip to the Milwaukee Reps presentation of Chasin' Dem Blues. Theater goers boarded a coach bus in Grafton, traveled to Milwaukee for dinner, and enjoyed the musical about the blues recording history in Grafton. The first ever Grafton Winters Farmers Market, sponsored by Aurora Healthcare, was held at the Zahn Pavilion at Lime Kiln Park in January and February. Both days were well attended, despite some frightful winter weather hitting during the first market. The winter markets included live music, fresh produce, and a wide variety of local vendors. The Chamber is hopeful to be able to resume hosting them in January and February of next year. Our outdoor farmers market moved back to the Twin City Plaza for the summer months in order to be an efficient and safe grab-and-go market for 2020. While smaller than in years past, we are proud that the market saw steady attendance throughout the season and provided fresh produce, flowers, honey, and baked goods from local vendors in July, August, and September. We became experts at pivoting when we combined our annual golf outing with our annual meeting. About 55 golfers enjoyed 9 holes of golf at the bog, and then 100 people were able to join us for an outdoor reception at the barn at the bog. We honored Cornerstone Community Bank as our outstanding business, Carl Hader, Sandy Giuliani, and Lori Mathias as outstanding career educators, Grafton Fire Chief Bill Rice as our outstanding community partner, and John Safstrom, retired Grafton Park and Rec Director, as our outstanding public servant. 2020 holiday event activities were different from years past, but very well received. We coordinated a holiday house decorating contest, created a holiday cookie and bakery cookbook, hosted virtual visits with Santa, and produced a commemorative Grafton Christmas parade video. Thousands of people enjoyed all of these activities, and we are grateful to our sponsors, Bank 59, Port Washington State Bank, Cornerstone Community Bank, and U.S. Bank for their financial support to make these activities possible. Thanks to the generosity of our business community, we were able to light up the downtown, Paramount Plaza, and the Lumberyard Plaza for the holidays. We had an overwhelmingly positive response from the Grafton community to our first ever holiday house decorating contest, and a group of judges were able to tour the 10 participating homes at the end of November. Virtual visits with Santa were held 2 weekends in December and gave families the opportunity to visit with Mrs. Claus in a waiting room before visiting with Santa himself live from his office in the North Pole. About 36 families took part in this interactive chamber event, and each family received a commemorative picture from their visit. First ever Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce Community Cookie and Dessert book was a sweet success. The book is filled with 40 recipes that include a few flourless and gluten-free recipes, and even one for our furry friends. Nearly 200 of the cookbooks were sold in the month of December. We still have about 15 copies left, so please call the Chamber if you're still looking to get your hands on one. In December, we took a moment to stay home for the holidays and look back at the past 40 years of the annual Grafton Christmas Parade through the creation of the commemorative parade video. Longtime parade announcers Nancy Hunt and Mike Cebulka hosted the hour-long video special. Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce Administrative Assistant Sarah McGraw found a box of old videotapes in the chamber office and got the idea to produce a special. Some video clips stretched as far back as 1985. More than 50 DVDs of the video were sold throughout the holiday season. While it was nice to spend time reminiscing, we look forward to having our parade return to the streets of Grafton in 2021. A young professionals organization began events in February of 2020, and about 20 professionals joined us for a bowling and pizza at Circle B. In early March, the YPs gathered for a St. Patrick's Day party at Edgewater Golf Club. A great time was had by all. During the Safer at Home order, the YP group took their happy hour virtual and met via Zoom. In late October, a socially distant, Nacho Average Taco Tuesday tailgate event was held at Centennial Park. Our young professional group has grown this past year, and we look forward to getting back into the swing of regular events as the months move forward. Your chamber partners, along with the other Ozaukee County chambers and the Ozaukee Economic Development Committee, work together to plan and promote events that are valuable for the members of our community. We were able to host one in-person once luncheon in February and continue to work on ways to bring our once events back for mid to late 2021. We co-sponsored a Lunch and Learn event at MATC in early March called Keeping Employees Healthy, Body and Mind. We worked with the Washington Ozaukee Health Department to host a webinar called Blueprint for Reopening, which was developed to provide guidance to our businesses as the Safer at Home order was lifted. Our most recent webinar, held on January 13th, focused on providing insights to the Payroll Protection Program. Our Chamber Gift Check program is a great perk for our members and for the Grafton community. In 2020, over $17,500 in checks were issued, all of which are used to purchase goods and services at Chamber member businesses. This is very impactful given the fact that we did not issue any gift checks in March, April, or May. Thank you to those of you who think of us when giving gifts to your employees, friends, and family. The Chamber continues to work closely with the school district. In March, we helped to coordinate a career day at John Long Middle School. We are not sure when we can get back to these types of activities, but we are definitely ready to move forward when we can. We are very excited about another collaboration that we help to facilitate between MATC and the Grafton School District to enhance our culinary arts program. The equipment donation from MATC was delivered this summer, and we know that the thriving program is moving to a whole new level. Chamber member representatives also serve on the Business, Marketing, and IT Advisory Board, and Pam is a Nozaki Youth Apprenticeship Board member. Once again, the Chamber provided $5,000 in scholarships to Grafton High School seniors in 2- and 4-year programs, and a $1,000 scholarship to a continuing education student, Luke Wolf, who graduated from Grafton High School in 2019 and is currently attending the University of Wisconsin-Madison and majoring in microbiology. We wish all our scholarship recipients the best of luck as they pursue their studies. On March 13th, Chamber life as we knew it changed with our first COVID update email. The Chamber staff worked tirelessly to create COVID-19 updates that focused on health and safety, financial assistance options, and local, state, and government information. We know that we made an impact because for more than 2 months, those daily updates had a 40 to 42% open rate, which means that approximately 350 people looked at our information each day. We approached the village and asked for some possible financial assistance programs for our businesses, and they were able to redirect funds from the village's revolving loan fund to a COVID relief loan fund. The COVID page on our website has served as a great information source for the past 6 months, and we continue to update the information on that page. We initiated the Light It Blue campaign in our community, and businesses and residents showed their support for our frontline essential workers by turning on blue lights on Thursday evenings until November. These are just a few of the pictures of the various places around Grafton that were illuminated blue to show support. We honored essential workers by creating our own all-star team, and 40 employees from Grafton businesses and nonprofit organizations were recognized for going above and beyond during this tumultuous time. Elise and Sarah worked to beef up the Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce's social media outlets and to engage with members of our community in these various campaigns, especially the Coloring Pages program. Residents were asked to print out, color, and send pictures of art out to various assisted living homes in the area with greeting cards and coloring pages to brighten their day. Additionally, in 2020, we expanded our website by adding pages filled with valuable information for Chamber members to use. Our new Diversity, Inclusion, and Minority-Owned Business Resource page provides quick links, tools, and various resources to help users better navigate being a small business owner. Paramount Blues History in Grafton, also a new page on our website, is devoted to sharing information with the community and tourists interested in learning more about music history in Grafton. A self-guided Paramount walking tour map can be found on this site. As our businesses began to reopen in June and July, we worked with our friends at Digital Edge and the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce to publish a summer in-home mailer that we believe helped drive more traffic to our local businesses. We added a new element to our annual Holiday Shop Local campaign and with the financial support of Port Washington State Bank, we created and distributed 1,000 Shopping Fun in Grafton 2021 coupon books. Our hope is that this project will help to drive customers to participating businesses in the first quarter of 2021. Throughout the holiday season and beyond, Sarah spends time each Friday visiting local retail businesses and highlighting them on Facebook Live. These Black Hawk Friday shopping experiences have brought a whole new kind of exposure to our local small businesses. Perhaps one of the most positive things to come out of the COVID-19 pandemic for the Chamber is the impact it has had on our ability to reach a very broad audience on our social media outlets. Followers of our 6 various Facebook pages, our Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest pages have grown exponentially. We have had, on average, 1,000 daily engagements across all of our platforms. Be sure to keep a close eye on our YouTube page in 2021 for more firsthand looks at Grafton Chamber events. The Chamber brings together our business community and local residents through the production and financial support of some of Grafton's most well-known events, including supporting the Celebrate Grafton Committee on this year's Giro de Grafton, holidays where music plays, and Fall into Grafton. Sadly, the only event that we were able to make happen was Fall into Grafton. But the 18-hole miniature golf course and annual pumpkin derby provided socially distanced fun for a few hundred families. As you may have guessed, tourism, promotion, and development has been extremely challenging. Leisure travel throughout the county, especially involving overnight stays, has been slow, and while it has picked up a bit, we are optimistic that things will continue to improve this year. We do know that many people are coming to Grafton to visit our parks and to bike, hike, and walk on the inner urban trail. Trail use this year is up by almost 30%. In her role as Tourism Promotion and Development Coordinator, Annalise Kannenberg created multiple successful social media campaigns, each with a different focus, including the history of Grafton, where in Grafton, Wisconsin are we, and my favorite, fill in the blank, in Grafton. During National Travel and Tourism Week, she developed a virtual celebration for the week. None of this would be possible without the amazing support of our business community. The financial support that our businesses provide for these events enables us to continue to offer quality programs and events for our community. 2020 was a challenging year, and I am sure that you would agree, one that we'll never forget. We are anxious to see all of you in person sometime soon. In the coming months, we plan to offer a series of workshops and seminars that will help you to better utilize your Chamber member benefits, including enhancing your listing on our website, ways to improve your visibility across our social media platforms, Chamber Shorts and the newsletter, and discount programs available to you as a Chamber member. Please follow us on Facebook and all of our other social media platforms to keep up to date on all the exciting events and opportunities in our community. I am happy to have had this opportunity to present the State of the Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce to all of you. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to contact the Chamber office or any of our Chamber board members. Now I would like to introduce Lester Bartel, Town Chairman.
Good afternoon. I'm Lester Bartel, the Chairman of the Town of Grafton, as part of the Grafton community. A little bit about me for any of you who don't know who I am. I've been on the town board now for 32 years, starting as a plan commissioner, working as a supervisor, and for most of my career, 29 years as chairman of the town board. I would like to greet everyone on behalf of the entire town board made up of myself, town supervisors Tom Grabo, Paul Melitik, Tom Sikora, and Karen Stockwell. The photo you're looking at is one of the highlights of our event from the last couple of years, where we had the opportunity to honor a young man who achieved the position of Eagle Scout. You'll see Jeff Nelson there, as this young man was a graduate of our very own Grafton High School. A few statistics about the town of Grafton. The town consists of about 10,200 acres. Our total assessed valuation was just under $682 million. We have approximately 62 miles of roads within the town of Grafton, 18 being under federal, state, or county jurisdiction, and about 44 miles that are under town of Grafton jurisdiction. The town of Grafton shares borders with 5 annexing municipalities, that being the city of Cedarburg, city of Mequon, village of Grafton, village of Saukville, and city of Port Washington, as well as 3 other townships, being the town of Cedarburg, the town of Port Washington, and the town of Saukville. This obviously presents challenges that many townships around the state of Wisconsin do not have, while at the same time providing opportunities for intergovernmental cooperation. The population of the town of Grafton, as of the 2019 estimate, is 4,221, up 1.5% from 2018. The median age of a town of Grafton residents is 46 years. Median income of a town of Grafton household is just over $97,000. And 95% of town residents have a high school diploma or higher. And fortunately, I am able to claim at least one of those criteria, that being the last one. Documented growth. The town of Grafton has experienced documented consistent growth in both population and home values each year. The town has also noted an increase in the number of families with school-aged children moving into the township, which of course is good news for the Grafton School District, as well as our other schools within the community of Grafton. The total assessed valuation of town of Grafton has risen $180 million over the last 10 years. This graph simply points out that growth in valuation. If this was anybody's investment portfolio, you would feel very, very good about it. And as taxpayers in this part of the state of Wisconsin, in any time, this is good to see that the investment in the community you chose to live in is a positive one. I've talked before about the welcome baskets we deliver. We try to get a welcome basket out to anyone who moves into the town of Grafton, either from building a new home or from buying an existing home. We have approximately an average of 10 new homes a year go up in the town of Grafton. The median of these 4 statistics over the last 4 years would leave about 62 people who actually buy new homes, in addition to those who build new homes. And so I'm always very pleased to report, as I deliver the overwhelming majority of these baskets, that many individuals choosing to invest in the community of Grafton to raise their families are people with young children. This is a slide showing all of the businesses and entities that contribute to those welcome baskets. We have heard comments from people who call us and thank us for them about how helpful much of the information in these baskets are, especially for those who move into Grafton from outside of this part of the state or out of state completely. A couple of business highlights within the town over the past year. Sandhill Farm, Christmas Tree Farm at the north end of East River Road, which has been in business for many years and sells between 700 and 1,000 Christmas trees every year, has been sold. And we want to welcome new owners, Dave and Jacqueline Ness and their family. The Nesses are intent on continuing the Christmas tree business and eventually moving here from Shorewood and building a home here in the next couple of years. Next, we'd like to point out Golden Bells Farm. Golden Bells Farm is located at the corner of County Highway W and East Sauk Road. Many of you know it as the former Bunting property. Kira Behrens has purchased this property and has embarked on an organic foods and natural food producing farm. She sells not only to anyone local who drives up, but also provides many restaurants and chefs with items that they have hard time procuring, and she's growing them for them there. And we'll also be hosting events, small weddings and business gatherings. This is something that if you're looking for a place to hold a small gathering, give Kira a call. I'm sure she can accommodate you in a most professional way. Obviously, for everyone, running elections in the last year, we know what the challenge this has been during a pandemic. And a couple of statistics here that are kind of interesting to point out is that I would have to back up a bit that in a normal election, we would get approximately 10 to 15% of total ballots cast absentee or referred to as mail-in. Obviously, that increased during this year, and after the spring election, our staff worked very hard to prepare for the subsequent elections throughout the year. By the fall election, we had 71% of eligible voters cast ballots by mail or by early in-person voting. Only 917 of the 3,130, I believe, voters actually came on election day to vote. I want to compliment our staff, particularly Tony Megenberg, our Chief Elections Inspector, Bonnie Bartel, our Town Treasurer and Administrator, who work hand in hand running elections, all of our elections inspectors who worked very hard to provide a safe environment for everyone to vote, and who also did an excellent job of keeping up with the large amount of mail-in ballots, which is a change in the paradigm. I proudly pointed out to people that had you called the Town of Grafton office at 5 o'clock the Monday before the election, we could have told you exactly how many mail-in ballots we had in hand, given only what we would get in the mail the next day. Had you called us at 8 o'clock on election evening, we could have told you within 1 or 2 how many ballots we had yet to count and about how long it would take to count them, and we were done counting before 11:30 p.m. The pandemic has also caused a little shift in the paradigm of how people spent their summers this year. Obviously, less people decided to go on longer vacations, avoiding flying and other points of transportation. This meant that many more people got out and enjoyed our opportunities in the outdoors, that being the Lions Den Gorge, Bratt Woods, as well as the Ozaukee County Urban Trail. Golf was a popular activity. We know our 2 golf courses had some of their best years ever as far as rounds of golf played, and our new canoe launch pier was used very heavily on Highway O. We want to continue working to increase our budget allocations for the coming years, always looking to improve the amount of money we can use for reconstruction of roads. The improvement of local infrastructure is simply the most important, second most important next to public safety responsibility that we have as a town board. We think it contributes very significantly to the steady increase in property values. Good infrastructure is good for whether it's residential travel, business travel, public transportation, and of course emergency vehicle response to 911 calls. We will continue to support the Village of Grafton, the Grafton School District, then the Grafton Area Chamber of Commerce through our great working relationships. I also want to add to that the USS Liberty Memorial Library and, of course, the Grafton Fire Department. And I would be remiss if I didn't take special time here to recognize Bill Rice for his leadership in leading the town, not just the Town and Village of Grafton department, but being definitely an anchor in providing emergency service to surrounding communities because of the restrictions that COVID put on the availability of personnel to respond. Many of you may or may not know of the efforts to establish countywide fire and rescue. And it certainly has to be pointed out that the trial run is going on right now. And I want to point out again the importance of something I mentioned earlier, and that is the working relationship that the town and the village have. Had we not had that relationship and had fought bitterly over who was going to pay for what when the fire department went to being a public entity, we probably would not have the professional fire chief. We would not have full-time staff and the equipment that was there to respond not only to Grafton's needs through the pandemic, but the entire county's. I would urge young leaders who are going to be stepping into these roles in the future to recognize that relationship and continue it for the good of all. One other expansion we have going on in the town business-wise is Meadowlark Storage. Meadowlark Storage bought additional land on Port Washington Road and is undergoing a significant business expansion, adding over 60 outdoor storage units and 12 buildings for storage rental units. We're proud to have them in the town, and I'm glad that Laura Logan decided that the town of Grafton was a great place to invest in her business. Another business we're welcoming in 2021 will be Valvoline Instant Oil Change on Port Washington Road. This is going up adjacent to Meijer, just south of the Meijer store. Construction is underway, and they expect to open here in 2021. The next slide will be a schematic rendering of the building. As you will see, the building will be very attractive and architecturally matching the high quality of buildings in the Grafton Business District. 2021 and beyond, many of you are aware that we have had an application from Beechwood Business Condos to establish a business condominium development at the northeast corner of County Highway W and Falls Road. While this is an exciting application, it also has a lot of technical requirements involved. And I want to assure everyone that the professional planning and engineering staff of the town is reviewing every aspect of this application in conjunction with the Ozaukee County Highway Department, the Grafton Fire Department, the Village of Grafton, and engineering and planning. There are a lot of aspects of this development that need to be closely scrutinized, and I am also happy to say that the developer is working closely with staff to make sure that all avenues of concerns are addressed, not just being traffic, but also stormwater retention and architectural review and public safety. The next and probably one of the more exciting things for folks in the town is that the new town hall project is underway. The town board bought a legacy farm property this past year, which is located just north of the equipment buildings of the Fire Ridge Golf Course, that being the former Roberti Irwin Farm. We have 3.9 acres of land there, and we are now involved in the establishing a building plan, total site plan, parking, circulation, and all the things that go with building a new building. Our goal is to have occupancy sometime in 2022. People have questioned what's going to happen to the old barn. At this time, the barn is scheduled to remain in place for years to come. It's in excellent shape and is one of the key mark attractions of Fire Ridge Golf Course. Last but not least, we'd like to welcome aboard our new town clerk, Sarah Jacoby. Sarah was appointed at our first meeting here in January. For 10 years, she's been the manager of operations at the Luxembourg American Cultural Society in Belgium. Her previous role has given her the skills in accounting, customer service, record keeping, and organization, which will help her be successful in this role. Sarah also has a 16-year-old son of whom she is very proud of. Also want to recognize our other staff, our outgoing clerk, Lisa Keene, who is staying on a pro rata basis to help in the transition and training. Bonnie Bartel, our treasurer, administrative assistant, who's been the anchor of our office through this entire pandemic. and as well as staff change time, making sure things keep going on a day-to-day basis. Lila Schwan, administrative assistant, and our newest addition, Elizabeth Jasinski, who has been helping with tax collections and general administrative work. I'm very happy to have a very efficient and professional staff, which makes the running of the township much less of a burden than it could be. As always, I want to thank the Grafton Chamber of Commerce for putting this event together, Pam, Sarah, Annalise, and their entire organization. We know it's part of their work, but it's also a labor of love, and they do a wonderful job of it. So I want to thank them all for their hard work in bringing this to each and every one of you in this challenging year, and certainly look forward to greeting you all in person next year. Goodbye, and have a good 2021.
Thank you, Lester. Next up, we will have President Jim Bronkwell.
Okay, so welcome to Chamber Central. It is Wednesday, I think 2 weeks before the actual State of the Village presentation, but I want to say thank you to Pam and the rest of the Chamber staff for, again, organizing this event. It's always better to see people in person, but we will do things virtual this year, and we'll see how they go. So again, thank you everyone for attending today, virtual, and hopefully you'll get some good information out of this presentation. It's unfortunate, but I won't be able to do the regular banter with Lester, but I'm sure he'll come up with something that I wasn't prepared for. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the standard demographic information that we present every year. We just basically updated it. A big shout out to Jessica Wolf, our Director of Community Development, for helping me put all the numbers together. A lot of these things are pretty straightforward. You should be able to read them. I don't need necessarily to read every line item, but as we get into some of the other areas, some of these things will make sense when we talk about the equalized value and the assessed tax rate. Why the 15% decrease really is associated with the 2020 village-wide reassessment project that we did. As people may or may not know, if we get more than 10% off of valuation changes between the village assessed value and the state's value, then we have to do a reassessment. So that is what happened this year. As in past years, we'll talk a little bit about different segments of how we manage a full service community, including retail, residential, redevelopment, recreation, and cooperation. So let's go ahead and get started on the retail side. We had a couple of changes, new businesses this year. TJ Maxx and Five Below, those are areas that are on the east side. We do actually have a big, I don't know if this is going to be, by the time this is aired, this will be new news, but today we do have information that TJ Maxx is scheduled to open on March 18th. So that's been one of those questions that's been bounced by us for quite a few times. So we really look forward to seeing that. And as pretty much everybody knows, Five Below is currently open. New AutoZone down at on South Commercial. So again, I'd like to welcome them. Hopefully that'll be open by the time this airs, but they're in the final preparations of getting ready to open. So we welcome them to the community. Couple new business and other relocations. So we talked about the AutoZone. Other things in South Commercial, Eupraxia. Downtown we had Deja Glow Spa, the La Bella Salon, the Oasis Healthcare, and Eaton's Fresh Pizza, which I will put a shout out. I actually tried it. I think for the value, it was pretty incredible. I think I had something with, it was about a ½ inch thick and 14 inches, and I think for the three of us, we couldn't even eat the whole thing. It was very, very good. So I highly recommend giving that a shot. Over on the east side, Five Below, Caliber, Collision, Zaki Nonprofit, Zaki Community Therapies, Harrigan Solutions, Champion Title and Closing, all new businesses and relocations over on the east side. Let's move forward to a little bit about residential. I think for in the latter part of 2020 and now moving into 2021, we've had just a huge amount of a residential growth explosion, and I kind of go over a few of these. Riverbend Meadows. Riverbend Meadows is over on the east side. We had phase 1, 33 lots, currently under construction, and we have such success with phase 1 that phase 2 is already coming in 2021. It was originally anticipated that this would be, a 5 to 6 year build up, but it's really, really moving along. So that's Riverbend Meadows. Again, that's really off of Port Washington Road is really where most of that frontage is. Bluestem. Bluestem really comes off of Falls Road. And that is also does a lot of construction. If you ever drive in that area, feel free to drive in some of the internal subdivision lots, and you'll see just a lot of construction. Again, phase 1 is mostly complete, and phase 2 is currently under construction. So again, these are all over on the east side. Shady Hollow is over on the north side off of Highway O. That has multiple phases. This is phase 3. Again, this is an area that was really, really slow for many years. And now in the last 2-3 years, it has really taken off. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of good construction happening up in that area also. Woodside Prairie. This is a new development. It'll be over on the east side, actually across from Myers. Basically, it's a housing for autistic adults, 24/7 live-in staff, and that construction will be starting this spring. And we really look forward to as a new project with an addition that will supply a very needed product for our residents. Hickory Street Townhomes. This is across from the Public Works building. This will be again, a series of 3 buildings and 18 townhomes. So again, currently under construction. It just shows that the residential area and component of the community is really taking off. One of the final parts of the lumberyard site is the townhomes, and if you've driven by them, they're very a unique style, very contemporary, and I think it adds yet another option for our housing retail mix. So again, that's part of the lumberyard townhomes and right downtown. We talked a little bit earlier about the reval. Really, again, the idea of that is to match the assessed value that the village apportions to homes to equal what the state feels the valuation of the community is. The average assessment increase, I think we fell below 88% of what the state was. So we did that reassessment. We came up with an average assessment increase of 26%. People always tend to think that a huge assessment equates to a tax increase, but it's basically almost it's easier to explain that. An assessment increase is equal to a valuation increase is equal to an assessment decrease. So basically, at the end of the day, the average tax rate was, I think, less than about 1%. So overall, it basically, again, it just some areas of the village appreciate a little faster, some appreciate a little bit slower. But again, this is kind of an exercise that equalizes that all out and gets us on the same footing as what the state has. Talk a little bit about redevelopment. I think one of the last projects associated with the downtown redevelopment has been the Clark Station reuse. The Clark Station, I think, pretty much closed up business in about 2016 or 2017 in that area. And they basically gave up the property through tax payment or tax payment foreclosure. So we worked with the county and we were able to acquire that property, and the county was worked with us to forgive the tax liens on it. We worked with the state on several PECFA grants to remediate the site and take it down, clean it up. And we're working with redevelopment efforts to look at doing a new project, and hopefully we'll have something actually start on that in 2021. This is the Clark Station was probably one of the most talked about redevelopment sites in the residents in the area. Is what are we going to do with the Clark Station? It had been quite an eyesore for quite a few years, so this will be a welcome project that we really look forward to getting off the ground. So kind of a downside upside. We were informed in 2020 that both Rexnord and Caliber were either relocating or going out of business. The bright side to that is the very highly desirable locations, and we've had multiple communications as far as interest in purchasing those buildings and what will we allow there. So we really, if there is a bright side to seeing businesses leave, it's also the fact that there's enough interest in the village that we are seeing a lot of requests to what kind of uses we would allow. So good area, good to go along with some of the not so good. From the recreation area, I think one of the things that we really are looking at doing in the Riverbend Park, which is again part of the East Side development, is looking at kind of a new way of doing the community parks. And instead of the traditional, basketball court and swing set and whatever, we're looking at going down new roads, looking at maybe splash pads, looking at things that are more kind of cutting edge type of amenities, things that our residents are starting to look for. So hopefully we'll be able to include some of those new types of features into our park, newer park areas. We always like to work with not only our chamber and our other businesses, but we also work with more and more collaborations with our neighboring communities. This last year, we've included with our agreements with the Village of Saukville, not only building inspection and fire services, but we also now are working with their fire department in providing actual administrative services. So our fire chief, Rice, is actually spending some time with the Saukville Fire Department in an administrative perspective. So I think this kind of could be the precursor for a model for possibly consolidated services. As of today, that study has yet to be completed, but we do expect to see that in a not too distant future. And we can continue to work with the Town of Grafton. We have a great relationship with them. I don't see that changing. Lester and I have a great working relationship, and we have each other's bat phone, and if there's something that comes up, we're not afraid to bounce ideas off of each other and work things out before they become bigger issues. So again, we'll continue to work with the town, and we'll have that great relationship continue on. Done a lot of work obviously this last year with the pandemic, the COVID issues, things like that. We've actually created, internally in the village, we created an emergency loan program, and we've actually had several businesses that have actually applied for those loans. So basically using some of our RLF, our revolving loan fund, program funds to actually repurpose those funds to emergency loan programs. So hopefully, the idea is working with our business community to make sure that we keep those businesses viable. Work with the chamber, business survey. So some of the results, it appears that a lot of, looks like continued growth new employees being added. There's some of the themes that came back was more desire for community events, more retail options, continued redevelopment where it makes sense. So these are all things that kind of point to a positive business environment, and we really enjoy and appreciate the feedback that we're getting from the business community and the chamber. One of the big things that we worked on in 2020 at the Plan Commission and planning areas was really looking at a new zoning ordinance and a new zoning map. Really what we're trying to do is become a little bit more flexible as far as how we want to manage future growth, and how do we want to manage uses versus the traditional way, which is very kind of structured and limited. It really doesn't allow for a lot of flexibility. I think our goal was to be able to not only manage, but to be able to be flexible and to really be able to drive those high quality developments that we really anticipate are going to be coming down the road. It also gives us the opportunity to look at our housing stock and how we can be flexible as far as having multifamily in what traditional single family areas, and where does it make sense, and how big they should be and can be, and how do you look at transitional areas and things like that. So all in all, the goal is to making sure that we have a comprehensive zoning ordinance that really allows for flexibility and yet a high level of control that encourages high quality development. And that pretty much sums it up.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to see that things are moving forward in our community. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have any questions, please post them using the chat function. Our next presenter is Grafton School District Superintendent Jeff Nelson.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Nelson, and I'm proud to be the superintendent for the Grafton School District. I'm in the middle of my 5th year here, and our theme this year is Stay Safe to Stay Open. Thanks to Pam and her team of Sarah and Annalise for their work with this event, as well as their support for our district throughout the year. Also, thanks to Lester and Jim for their support of our district over the past year also. Whenever we start our programs, we always talk about our mission, our vision, and our motto. You hear us talk a lot about every student, every day. We take that personally, and our staff works each day to reach that motto. I'd like to introduce our school board. We are fortunate to have some great leaders as school board members here in the Grafton School District. Starting left to right, left Steve Nada, Treasurer Mark Kaler, President Paul Lorgy, Clerk Joe Mail, Jerry Rossi, Vice President Carrie Walls, and John Skolman. Grafton is fortunate to have this great group of leaders serve as board members for our district. And as an employee of the district, I couldn't be happier to have these people be my boss. The 2021 school year definitely looks different. We have students wearing face coverings, students sitting socially distanced apart. We have students eating lunch socially distanced apart as we're using our small gym at John Long as an extra place for kids to be able to eat. Students that are getting ready to sing, wearing a special face covering that allows them to keep the droplets in, but still allowed to sing. And we have students playing their instruments outside because we hadn't ordered face coverings in time for the beginning of school for that group. But with that occurring, we've only missed one day of school since the COVID shutdowns began in March. And I believe we are the only K-12 district in the entire state that can state that fact. We were informed back on March 13th, Friday, March 13th, that our buildings were going to be closed, and our staff started planning immediately. And over the weekend, they planned, and then we used Monday, March 16th to finalize our plans and began virtual learning on Tuesday, March 17th. As we looked ahead to this year, we provided options for families to either be 5 days in person or virtual at home. We had approximately 86% of our student body choose in person, and we have not had to shut down a building yet this year because of COVID. So you might say, how have you been able to do that when other districts in our area have had to go virtual at some point, or some have remained totally virtual? And we have 5 factors that we have broken it down as to why we've been able to stay open. 1 is advanced planning. 2 is continuous involvement of our staff. 3 is clear expectations. 4 is parent and staff buy-in, student buy-in, and 5 is our high quality dedicated staff that we have in our district. Also, our board authorized an additional $770,000 to reopen our schools as safely as possible in the COVID environment. We use those funds to purchase technology for students, so we are one-to-one with Chromebooks 3 through 12th grade. We have cameras in every classroom, so students that are learning virtually are also able to see what's happening in the class while the teacher is teaching, so they're learning synchronously. This has helped us when students have been ill themselves. Either they've contracted COVID, they've just had maybe not felt well, or they've had a close contact, and even though they're supposed to be in person, have had to be virtual, they've been able to keep learning while at home. And we've purchased amplification systems for every teacher, something that goes around their neck that allows teachers to be able to amplify their voices so they realize they have to be speaking very loudly for students that are both virtual and in person, and that's helped keep them safe as well. We've also purchased individual classroom desks. One of the benefits of the referendum was we were able to upgrade all of our HVACs in each of our buildings, and now this year we used extra funds to upgrade our filters to MERV 13 filters, the highest grade of filters that we can use to help with airborne particles. We also flush 100% of our air before occupancy each day around 4 a.m. And then we have over 50% of our air is flushed throughout the day in each of our buildings. We have cleaning and disinfecting mitigation measures that we have with electrostatic cleaners, clean during the day, deep cleaning at night, hand sanitizers in all of our classrooms and large spaces. We've also hired additional personnel. We have a dedicated building sub, so if staff were ill or were in close contact or had to stay home, then we were able to continue to have a qualified person in that classroom. We've had to create a dashboard. We have a dashboard that lists the number of students, staff cases of COVID that we have, as well as close contacts that we have, or students that are quarantined, and it tracks it by building, so we can see our mitigating factors working. This is our data as of today, January 15th. It's also on the front page of our website. We knew in the spring the students weren't having their needs met. They were missing their friends, their teachers. Our teachers banded together and did just a variety of activities for students. So here you can see our elementary staffs at both Kennedy and Woodview that did neighborhood parades and people out greeting us as they drove through their neighborhoods. 5th to 6th grade is a big transition. Unfortunately, not able to do some normal transition things. So each staff at the Kennedy and Woodview did a drive-through photo opportunity where students could come, get their picture taken with their teacher, and at least celebrate that memory. We also want to thank our food service staff who really stepped up during the pandemic and started immediately providing food meals to all of our families in Grafton. And we had over 64,000 meals provided by them. For seniors at the high school, they had a parade at night where students could be in their cars with their parents or by themselves. They could have signs saying what they're doing next year, flags, whatever it may be. Staff were lined up. In this upper left, you can see cars that are lined up socially distanced apart. Staff were standing in front of those cars. And then the fire department worked with us and actually led them around a big loop twice and allowed our staff to be able to see our students that we had missed during that time. And then although we weren't able to hold our graduation ceremony like we had hoped, on that scheduled date, we were able to host an in-person graduation for our class of 2020 outside, and we held it at night. We'd never held a graduation at night. That's a tradition that we are continuing this year. There are a number of things that COVID brought us that we are going to continue using. An outdoor at night graduation ceremony is one of them, but we were able to provide this for our families. We live streamed it for people that weren't able to attend because of limiting numbers, but a great opportunity for our class of 2020. And then also we had opportunities to recognize staff. Typically we recognize staff by bringing them to our board meeting, giving them a certificate, and presenting them with some district apparel. This year, because we weren't able to do that, I went around to each one of them. Either they came into school or I went to their home and did an individual video with them and just found out some things about them personally that we wouldn't have done in the past. We were then able to share it on social media. They were able to share it with their family and friends all across the country or around the world. Another tradition that we will continue doing this year with our staff. So we have students in the classrooms. We also have students that are competing in sports. We have not had a shutdown of our athletic teams. We've had all of our fall sports competing. We've had our winter sports competing. We've also had our band and vocal music students competing. We've purchased different types of masks for them to be able to perform, which allows them to stay safe. But we believe that those experiences are extremely important for our kids, and if we can find a way to do it, then we've worked hard to be able to do that. Last year, I focused on a curriculum area of students learning about coding or working with FIRST Lego and robotics across the district. This year, a new curriculum focuses Project Lead the Way at our elementary schools. So in the past, as 5K students would learn their ABCs, they would say that X is for X-ray without fully knowing what an X-ray really was. Well, now in science class, students are learning about the skeletal systems by examining hands-on models of bones and actual X-ray images. They're working to create models of the skeletal system of the hand by examining their own handprints and using cutout bone overlays to better understand the human body. In fourth grade, students learning about the brain and nervous system by studying, researching, reading, and writing about concussions and brain injuries. So students are reading reputable online sources about the brain and nervous system and watching accompanying PLTW video clips in order to build background knowledge. As a culminating project, students are working collaboratively to design, plan, and create a video or podcast intended to raise awareness of concussions, detect concussions, and reduce/eliminate their occurrences. And yes, that is in fourth grade. At the middle school, we've added CPUP, Science Education for Public Understanding program, a science curriculum that uses personal and societal issues to engage students in the study of science. Students are provided with some evidence about the issue at hand, but they often realize they have more questions than answers. So this issue-oriented science curriculum engages students in the scientific process, encourages them to use scientific evidence to make decisions, and teaches them how to apply science to everyday life. We're excited to show you some elective classes at the high school that are coming up. Some of these are relating directly to you as chamber members. We are excited to have a school store opening second semester. And this school store, so you can see it's going to be called the Hawk's Nest. The Grafton Educational Foundation worked with us to be able to provide funds for this. They donated $10,000 to this being opened. So we have the Hawk's Nest with some black paper so people can't see inside. Here's a sneak peek of what it looks like inside. But you can see back to these courses, this business and merchandising course is going to be one that's going to be actively engaged in that. This career internship is obviously something that we're going to be looking forward to partnering with some of you who already partner with us, and maybe those of you that haven't yet, with some of our students and helping them make proper choices as they look to leave Grafton High School. And then last spring, we celebrated Ellis Flagger as our state wrestling champion at 160 pounds. He was our second Grafton High School state wrestling champion, first four-time state qualifier. Also in Carl Hader's final year, our automotive students secured their 8th consecutive state championship. Carl had 19 state championships and 12 top 10 national finishes during his tenure. COVID cut their opportunity to go to nationals in New York short, but they had a great run while Carl was leading that program. And then although COVID delayed our fundraising efforts for our athletic facilities, as our focus was on finishing last year strong and preparing for a positive start to this year, we are pleased to start moving forward again. So as a reminder, there are 4 phases of the project. The first is fencing, main entry, and ticket booths. The second phase is turf on the stadium and improving the track. Third phase is restrooms and concession building at soccer stadium. And the final phase, provide new scoreboards, sound systems, and LED stadium lighting. So with a successful first semester about to conclude, we're excited that Ted Kellner, class of 1964, has partnered with us to jumpstart our campaign. He and his wife, Mary, have committed to a $750,000 matching donation, which allows for every dollar raised to be doubled. We are going out to bid on phase 1 in early January of this year in order to have phase 1 completed by fall of 2021. Phase 2, we are planning on having completed by the fall of 2022, pending successful fundraising efforts. We still have some opportunities for business sponsorships to have your business logo prominently displayed. The sponsorship is for 20 years, and the donation can be spread out over 3 years. All donations are tax deductible, and we will have individual donation opportunities in the in the spring for the community as well. But we're starting to see some of our sponsorship opportunities get taken up, and we're pleased to see that happen. So I conclude my presentation with a slide of our staff. So we started this tradition 4 years ago, and we continue to have a banner in each of our schools recognizing staff for their years of service in our district. We appreciate our staff and want them to know that as well. So we recognize staff at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35 years this year. We recognize them with a caramel apple from Sweet Trio, as well as a certificate commemorating their time in our district. So my hope is that the theme from this presentation is that our district values students and families having opportunities. Our staff is working extremely hard to remain open and provide those opportunities to students that are both in person and those that are virtual. We've allocated our resources in order to offer an in-person option for our students. This has helped our parents be able to focus on their own jobs, as well as helped our economy. It has also helped our students' mental health. I believe we are living out our motto of every student, every day this school year. I have found that you can think you have strong processes and leaders in place in an organization when things are going well. But when problems arise, that is when you find out if your assumptions were correct. The pandemic has shown what each of us has known, and that is that Grafton is one of the best districts in the state. We are having districts across the state reach out to us asking how we are succeeding and how we can help them. And finally, while we have much to be proud of, the district continues to demonstrate a continuous improvement mindset. We believe that strong communities equal strong schools and vice versa. The positive relationship with the village and town, as well as the support of local businesses, is greatly appreciated. I'm pleased to say that my family and I moved into Grafton just a few weeks ago, and it was hard to find a house as the housing market is very strong in Grafton. So Grafton is a great place to live and work, and I look forward to working with all of you to make it even better. Thanks for the chance to share the exciting things occurring in our district, and if we can ever partner with you in any endeavors, please reach out to us. Thank you. Go Blackhawks.
Thank you, Jeff. Before we move to questions, Pam King, Chamber Executive Director, has a few announcements for us.
It certainly has been a challenging year for all, and I am extremely proud of the work that we have done. Thank you to Sarah and Annalise for working with me to develop initiatives, campaigns, and activities that I believe continue to add value to your chamber membership and to our community. Thank you to our board of directors for your guidance and leadership this year. To you, our members, and to members of our various chamber committees, it has been challenging and it hasn't been easy, but you've all stuck with us, so we appreciate it. As a reminder, our database management program through Chambermaster provides you with many options for advertising your business on the web, as well as listings on our calendar, posting hot deals and jobs. Please contact us to assist you in this area. Remember, we publish a monthly newsletter and are happy to include information about your upcoming events or specials that you may be offering in our From Our Chamber Members section. The chamber shorts are sent out every Thursday, and we would be happy to include information there as well. That cost is $25. Our email distribution list has grown to almost 900, and we know that between 38 and 42% of our subscribers are opening them weekly. I hope you're one of them. If you're on social media, make sure that you have liked our page and that we've liked you. If you have something you'd like to share and you're not seeing us do that, please feel free to reach out to us via email or giving us a call and let us know so that we can share your information. In the coming months, we plan to offer a series of workshops and seminars that will help you to better utilize your chamber member benefits, including enhancing your listing on our website, ways to improve your visibility on and across our social media platforms, chamber shorts and the chamber newsletter, and discount programs available to you as a chamber member. Please watch for more details coming soon. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in person sometime very soon. Now back to Mary.
All right. Thank you, Pam. Now it looks like we have one question that came through during the presentations. This one is for Jeff Nelson. Jeff, are children going on field trips? And if not, when might you anticipate that happening?
We are not doing in-person field trips at this point. We are doing virtual field trips. And maybe as we head into late in the spring, that may be something we'd consider. At this point, you know, we are sticking with the mitigation measures that we have in place for our students. We're trying to make sure our experiences are what students need. And although the benefit of an in-person field trip, the idea of transporting students on a bus, some of those pieces that may be unnecessary would be something that we would weigh the benefit versus the potential issue that would occur with close contact or things of that nature. So that's the philosophy we've used throughout the year, is like, what are those experiences that we can provide for students in a safe way? Can we provide it in a different way that allows us to be safe? So at this time, no to in-person field trips.
Thank you. Thank you again for joining us today. And thank you to our guest speakers, Lester Bartel, Jim Bronkwell, and Jeff Nelson. Please stay safe and healthy.